My stepmom shrieked, "Pack your bags, you're dead to us." 48 hours later I'm in my penthouse suite while she discovers I own the house she's living in. Before we move forward, please show some love by subscribing and share your location in the comments. I love seeing where our family is watching from. I stood in the kitchen doorway watching Vanessa throw my mother's cookbook into the trash. That antique leather-bound book with Mama's handwritten notes was the last piece of her I had left. My hands trembled as rage bubbled up from somewhere deep and primal. "What are you doing?" My voice cracked, but I kept it steady. Vanessa turned, her perfectly manicured hand still clutching the garbage bag. "Oh honey, I'm just clearing out old junk. This house needs a fresh start." Her smile was saccharine poison. She'd been my stepmother for 3 years, and every day she erased more of my mother's memory from this place. My father Luke walked in reading his newspaper. "What's all the noise?" "Dad, she threw away Mama's cookbook. The one with..." "Enough, Noel." He didn't even look up. "Vanessa's right. We need to move forward. Your mother's been gone 5 years. Something inside me shattered. I retrieved the cookbook from the trash, ignoring the coffee grounds staining my hands. The smell of old paper and my mother's lavender perfume still clung to the pages. This was precious to me. Vanessa's eyes glittered with malice. "Well, precious doesn't pay bills, does it? Unlike some people, I contribute to this household." That stung. I was 23, working part-time while finishing my MBA at night. They didn't know about my other ventures, my investments, the properties I'd quietly acquired. I'd learned early to keep my cards close. "I contribute," I said quietly. "Your little retail job?" Vanessa laughed, shrill and cutting. "Please. You're a burden, sweetheart." I clutched Mama's cookbook tighter, feeling the weight of secrets nobody knew. After she died, Grandma Lorraine had sat me down 18 years old and drowning in grief. She'd handed me an envelope containing $200,000. "Your mama was smart with money, baby," Grandma had whispered, her weathered hands holding mine. "She invested in properties when this neighborhood was nothing. Made sure you'd be taken care of. Don't tell your father." "Not yet. Men get funny about money, especially when they remarry." I'd listened, invested carefully, turned that $200,000 into $1.2 million over 5 years. Bought 3 rental properties including a penthouse downtown. Nobody knew. To them I was just Noelle, the struggling stepdaughter working at Nordstrom. "You hearing me, girl?" Vanessa snapped her fingers in my face. "I said you need to start contributing real money or find somewhere else to live." My father finally looked up. "Vanessa, that's harsh." "Harsh. Luke, she's 23. My daughter Brittany had her own place at 21. Ah yes, perfect Brittany who'd moved to Atlanta last year. Vanessa's golden child who could do no wrong." "This is my house too," I said softly. "Mama left." "Your mama left your father this house," Vanessa interrupted. "Which makes it mine now. Legally." Actually, that wasn't quite true. But I wasn't ready to play that card yet. Dinner that evening was tense. Vanessa had invited her sister, Patricia, and her obnoxious husband, Leonard. They sat at our dining table like they owned the place, Patricia's judging eyes following my every move. "So Noel," Leonard said, mouth full of pot roast, "still playing store clerk? When you gonna get a real job?" I cut my meat carefully. "I'm finishing my MBA. Then I'll..." "MBA?" Patricia laughed. "Honey, those are for people with ambition. What's your GPA, like 2.5? "Actually, it's 3.9, I said quietly. Vanessa waved dismissively. "Grades don't matter if you can't apply them. Luke, tell her. She needs a wake-up call." My father looked uncomfortable. Since marrying Vanessa, he'd become a shadow of himself. The strong man who'd held me during Mama's funeral had disappeared, replaced by this spineless stranger who let his wife disrespect his daughter. Noelle's doing fine, he mumbled. Fine. Vanessa's voice rose. She's 23, living rent-free, working minimum wage, acting like she's somebody. I'm tired of carrying dead weight. The table went silent. Even Leonard looked shocked. I'm your stepdaughter, I said, my voice shaking. Not dead weight. Vanessa stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the hardwood Mama had chosen. You know what? I'm done tiptoeing around your feelings. This is my house now. You want to stay? Start paying $2,000 a month. Rent. Due by the 1st. $2,000. In this neighborhood that was actually below market rate. But Vanessa didn't know I could write that check without blinking. I met with my attorney, James Crawford, the next morning. His downtown office overlooked the city, glass and steel reflecting the morning sun. James was 56, sharp as a tack, and had managed my mother's estate with discretion. She wants to charge you rent? James leaned back, fingers steepled. In the house your mother left in trust? She doesn't know about the trust, I reminded him. Mama's will left the house to Dad with the understanding it would eventually come to me. Vanessa thinks it's all his. James pulled out a folder. No, your mother was very specific. The house is held in trust until you turn 25 or your father remarries, whichever comes first. The moment he married Vanessa 3 years ago, the house transferred to you. Your father has lifetime residency rights, but you're the owner. My hands trembled as I held the deed. My name, Noelle Marie Johnson, owner of 4782 Oakwood Drive. The house I'd grown up in, where Mama had planted roses, where Dad had taught me to ride a bike. Why didn't we tell them? Your mother's instructions were clear. She wanted you to have leverage when you needed it. She knew your father might remarry. Wanted to protect you. Mama always was 3 steps ahead. There's more, James continued. Your investments are performing excellently. Your net worth is now $1.4 million. You also own that penthouse on 5th Avenue, 2 rental properties generating $8,000 monthly, and commercial property in the warehouse district. I was rich. And nobody knew. I returned home to chaos. Vanessa had packed my belongings into garbage bags and stacked them in the driveway. My clothes, books, photographs, everything thrown together like trash. Neighbors were watching, whispering, their curious eyes feeding on my humiliation. What the hell is this? I demanded, marching inside. Vanessa stood in the living room, arms crossed, victorious smile plastered across her face. My father sat on the couch, head in his hands. I told you, $2,000 or get out. You didn't take me seriously. The rent isn't due until the 1st. That's 2 weeks away. I changed my mind. Her eyes glittered with cruelty. I want you gone. Today. No. Pack your bags. Oh wait, I already did that for you. Dad. I turned to him desperately. You're really going to let her do this? He wouldn't meet my eyes. Maybe it's time you learned independence, baby girl. Vanessa's right. You need to stand on your own feet. The betrayal hit like a physical blow. This man had held me when I cried over boys, taught me to drive, walked me through my mother's death. Now he sat silent while his wife threw me out like garbage. Independence. My voice rose. I've been independent. While you 2 vacation in Cancun, I've been building something. But you never cared enough to ask. Vanessa stepped closer, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. Listen carefully, you entitled little girl. This is my house now. You're dead to us. Pack your bags and get out of my sight. Those words. You're dead to us. Something inside me shifted, calcified into cold determination. Okay, I said quietly. I'll leave. I loaded my garbage bags into my 10-year-old Honda, the car they thought was my only asset. Vanessa watched from the doorway, satisfaction radiating from her like heat. Patricia and Leonard had come over, apparently for the entertainment. "This is sad," Patricia announced to no one in particular. A grown woman with nowhere to go. I closed my trunk carefully. My hands had stopped shaking. The initial shock had burned away, leaving something colder, sharper. "Where will you go?" Leonard asked, feigning concern. "Got friends who'll take you in?" "I'll figure it out," I said. My father finally emerged, looking older than his 52 years. "No, I'm sorry it came to this, but nothing, Dad. You made your choice." He tried to hug me. I stepped back. The hurt in his eyes almost made me waver. "Almost. Call me when you get settled," he said weakly. "Sure." We both knew I wouldn't. As I drove away, I watched the house shrink in my rearview mirror. The blue shutters Mama had painted, the oak tree we'd planted when I was 7, the porch where we'd spent summer evenings. All of it slipping away. Except it wasn't. Not really. I drove downtown to the Augustine Tower, pulled into the private garage, and took the elevator to the penthouse on the 42nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the city. Marble countertops, heated floors, a bathroom bigger than my old bedroom. I dropped my garbage bags in the pristine living room and laughed. Then I cried. Then I called James. "It's time," I said. "Send the papers." My penthouse was sanctuary and statement. 3,000 square feet of hardwood, exposed brick and glass. I'd bought it 18 months ago for cash, $800,000. The previous owner was desperate to sell during a divorce. His loss my gain. I unpacked slowly, hanging my clothes in the walk-in closet that could fit my old bedroom twice over. My hands lingered on Mama's cookbook, now safely placed on the marble kitchen counter. Some coffee stains remained, but it was home. My phone buzzed. "Tasha, my best friend since elementary school. Girl, your cousin Monique just called me. Is it true? Did Vanessa really throw you out?" News traveled fast. "Yeah. Where are you? Come stay with me and Jerome. We got space." Tasha didn't know about my money either. I'd kept that secret tight, telling only James and Grandma Lorraine, who'd passed 2 years ago. Mama had taught me that lesson young. Quiet money moves different than loud money. "I'm good, Tash. I got a place." "A place? Where? No, what's going on?" I looked around my penthouse at the city lights twinkling below. "Come over tomorrow. I'll explain everything. Text me when you're free." After we hung up, I poured wine into a crystal glass and stood at the window. Somewhere out there, Vanessa was probably celebrating. Dad was probably drowning in guilt. Neither knew the storm coming. My laptop pinged. James had sent the documents. I reviewed them carefully, my MBA education serving me well. Everything was perfect. Tomorrow the real game began. Tasha arrived at noon, her jaw dropping as she stepped into the penthouse. "What the entire hell, Noelle? Whose place is this?" "Wine." She spun around, taking in the kitchen with its restaurant-grade appliances, the living room with its designer furniture, the view that cost more than most people's annual salary. "Excuse me? You're what now?" I poured her coffee from my espresso machine and told her everything. Grandma's inheritance, my investments, the rental properties, the trust. Tasha listened, her eyes growing wider with each revelation. "So you've been rich this whole time? While Vanessa called you a burden?" "Not rich. Comfortable. And building." I showed her my portfolio on my laptop. I wanted to make sure it was real before telling anyone. Wanted to prove I could do it. "Girl." Tasha set down her coffee. "You've been playing chess while they were playing checkers." "Something like that." "So what now? You gonna tell them?" I smiled and Tasha actually looked nervous. "Better. I'm going to show them." My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Is this Noelle Johnson? A woman's voice, professional. Speaking. This is Sandra Mills from Chase Bank. I'm calling regarding 4782 Oakwood Drive. We have Luke Johnson here attempting to take out a home equity loan, but our records show you're the property owner. We need your authorization to proceed. My blood went cold then hot. I'm the owner? Yes, ma'am. The deed transferred 3 years ago. Did you not know? Oh, I knew. But now Vanessa and Dad were about to find out. I drove to Chase Bank with Tasha riding shotgun. The branch manager, Sandra Mills, was a black woman in her 40s with intelligent eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Miss Johnson. He shook my hand firmly. This is an unusual situation. My father sat in the office looking confused and anxious. Vanessa stood beside him, her expression darkening when she saw me. What's this you doing here? Vanessa demanded. Sandra's voice was ice. She's the property owner. Without her signature, you cannot borrow against this property. The color drained from Vanessa's face. That's impossible. Luke owns that house. His first wife left it to him. Actually, I said, pulling out the documents James had provided, Mama left it in trust. The house transferred to me the moment Dad remarried. 3 years ago. I slid the deed across Sandra's desk. My father picked it up with shaking hands, reading his late wife's careful provisions. She'd protected me from beyond the grave. You've owned the house this whole time? Dad's voice broke. Yes. Then why didn't you say something when Vanessa asked for rent? When she threw you out? I met his eyes, letting him see the hurt there. Would you have believed me? Or would you have accused me of lying? He looked away. We both knew the answer. Vanessa's face twisted with rage. This is fraud. You can't just. It's completely legal, Sandra interrupted. The trust was properly executed. Miss Johnson has been the rightful owner for 3 years. You've been living in her house. The silence was deafening. Vanessa's carefully constructed world was crumbling, and I felt no sympathy. None at all. We moved to a conference room. Sandra had called in the bank's attorney to document everything. My father looked shell-shocked, but Vanessa's shock was morphing into calculation. Okay, fine, she said, her voice sticky sweet. So there was a misunderstanding. Well, honey, let's go home and talk about this. We're family. Family. I laughed, sharp and bitter. You threw me out yesterday. Called me dead to you. Had my belongings in garbage bags in the driveway while the neighbors watched. I was upset. You know how I get. I know exactly how you get. I turned to my father. Dad, I need to know something. Did you know about the trust? He nodded slowly. Your mama told me before she died. Said she wanted to protect you. I forgot about it, honestly. With everything happening after she passed. You forgot you don't own your house? I thought. Vanessa and I were married. What's mine is hers. I didn't think it mattered. It mattered when she threw your daughter out. Vanessa leaned forward. Let's be reasonable. We can work this out. You can charge us rent. A fair amount. We'll pay. I pulled out my phone and played a recording. My voice. This is my house too. Mama left. Then Vanessa's voice, crystal clear. Your mama left your father this house. Which makes it mine now. Legally. I'd been recording since the cookbook incident. Protecting myself. You knew it wasn't yours, I said quietly. You just assumed I didn't know better. Vanessa's mask finally dropped. You manipulative little bitch. Sandra stood. I think we're done here. I sat in James's office 3 days later, signing documents. Eviction papers. My father had lifetime residency rights per Mama's trust, but Vanessa didn't. She had 30 days to vacate. You sure about this? James asked gently. She called me dead to her. Threw me out like trash. She made her choice. My phone had been blowing up. Vanessa calling, texting, begging. Patricia calling me ungrateful. Leonard threatening legal action they had no grounds for. Even Brittany called from Atlanta, outraged on her mother's behalf. But Dad hadn't called. That hurt more than anything. Tasha came over that evening with Thai food and wine. We sat on my balcony, the city spreading before us like a carpet of lights. You really doing this? She asked. What would you do? Same thing. But I'm petty. He grinned. You're supposed to be the level-headed one. Maybe I'm tired of being level-headed. Maybe I'm tired of being underestimated. My phone rang again. Dad this time. I almost didn't answer. Hey baby girl. Those words used to mean safety. Now they felt like manipulation. What do you want, Dad? Can we talk? In person. I agreed to meet him at Mama's favorite restaurant, Lucille's Soul Food, the next day. Neutral ground. Public place. I wasn't ready to trust him alone. When I arrived, he looked like he'd aged 10 years. Deep circles under his eyes, shoulders slumped. For a moment I felt that old protective instinct. Then I remembered him sitting silent while Vanessa destroyed me. I'm sorry, he said immediately. Dad ordered Mama's favorite, fried catfish with collard greens and cornbread. I ordered nothing. My appetite had died somewhere between betrayal and rage. Your mother would be ashamed of me, he said. Yeah. She would. I let Vanessa take over. She was so confident, so sure about everything. After your mama died, I felt lost. Vanessa seemed to have all the answers. So you let her erase Mama. Let her disrespect me. Let her throw me out of my own house. He flinched. I thought I was helping you be independent. By humiliating me. Dad, she called me dead to her. You sat there and let her. I know. God, no, I know. I failed you. Tears streamed down his face. I failed your mama too. She trusted me to protect you, and I chose my ego and comfort over my daughter. His words were everything I'd needed to hear 3 days ago. Now they felt too late. Vanessa has to leave, I said firmly. The eviction stands. I understand. I'm leaving too. That surprised me. You don't have to. The trust says. I can't stay in that house without your mama and now without you. It's not home anymore. He reached across the table and I let him take my hand. But I'm leaving, Vanessa. I already filed for divorce. My heart clenched. Dad. She showed me who she really was when she threw you out. I was too weak to stop her then, but I won't be weak anymore. Your mama deserved better. You deserve better. We sat in silence, grief and relief mixing into something complicated and painful. I'm proud of you, he finally said. Your mama would be too. 6 weeks later, I stood in my childhood home, now truly mine. Vanessa was gone, her belongings cleared out, her presence scrubbed from every corner. Dad had taken an apartment downtown, close to his accounting firm. We had dinner once a week now, rebuilding slowly. I'd hired contractors to restore Mama's vision. The walls she'd painted lilac, the garden she'd planted, the kitchen where she'd created magic. All of it coming back to life. Tasha helped me hang pictures in the living room. Mama in her wedding dress, young and radiant. Me at 10 missing my front teeth. Dad teaching me to fish. A family that once was. You keeping it or selling it? Tasha asked. Keeping it. Maybe rent it out. Maybe live here again someday. I smiled. Options are nice. My phone buzzed. A text from Luke. Dinner Sunday? My place? I'll cook your mama's jambalaya. I typed back. I'll bring dessert. We weren't fixed. Might never be fully fixed. But we were trying, and that counted for something. Vanessa had sent one final text last week. "You'll regret this. You're vindictive and cruel." I'd blocked her without responding. Some people never learn that consequences aren't cruelty. They're just accountability. I locked up the house and drove back to my penthouse as sunset painted the sky orange and gold. My phone rang. A developer wanting to discuss my warehouse property. A tenant reporting a minor repair need. The property manager confirming next month's rental income. I was 23, a property owner, a landlord, a woman building an empire mama would be proud of. I'd been called dead, worthless, a burden. But I was alive, thriving, and finally free. In my penthouse suite, I raised a glass to the city, to mama, to the future I was creating, one choice at a time. Vanessa had wanted me gone. She got her wish. Just not the way she'd imagined. And that made all the difference.